Welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host, as always, Tina. How you doing?
I need to start paying attention to when we start these things because I'm having a conversation and then you just pop in and.
I'm sorry. I hit the note. I hit it and I thought you were. I thought you might have been looking at the screen. It's okay. I think it's funny to start.
You still can't tell what I'm looking at because
your camera's not working yet.
My screen's not working.
It's okay. I'm going to be out there probably this coming weekend. So,
and I'll have time this weekend. I don't know that I'll be doing a lot of writing.
I probably won't. It's supposed to be 90 on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Oh, then I might be at the beach.
All 4 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. At least 90 where I'm at. I'm sure it's the same. We generally have the same.
Do we?
Yeah, we generally have the same kind of weather. Yeah, it's going to be in the high 80s either way, wherever you're at.
Okay.
So you'll probably have that. Even Camarillo is going to be 80. And that's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, and Sunday is Mother's Day.
Ow. I don't have to. She's dead. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, mine too.
I hate to be dark and morbid, but I don't have to worry about that one anymore.
I don't know. The family will still get together, which means I'll be doing a lot of work, but whatever.
I have a little talk with my mom on that day and remind her that I'm all right. But
I've gotten to the point where I talk to my mom all the time, but it's become now like, did you see what I just did? That's freaking funny, Mom. Did you see that? Like, I don't miss her because I realize how close she is, if that makes sense. I'm okay without her being around, and I've done the work to be the woman that I need to be while she's not around. So
yeah,
it's kind of I'm at a good place with her, thankfully.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's a good place to be. Because when you look, we all celebrate life different ways. And on Mother's Day, it's obviously difficult. So,
I don't have a problem with it.
Because it's not fresh anymore. And I don't mean that inconsiderately. It's just
no. But not only is it not fresh, but I have done the work, and I am at a good place with my mom. But I was always really good with Mom. Like, even if we fought, we were just different. We were just different. We did things differently, and we let go of stuff and didn't hold on to it for the rest of our lives and hate on each other. We could go through it, be pissed off, and then move on.
Mm-hmm.
I miss that because not too many people are like that. Like, man, holding grudges is the thing to do these days. Like, it's like the popular thing to wear.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom wasn't like that. So when she was healthy minded, we could spar and it was okay. And I liked that. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, she's going to be gone almost 15 years. It'll be 15 years in July.
Yeah, I'm coming up on 4 years now, three or 4 years. But speaking of celebrations, if we were talking before we got on here, and you got to go to a celebration of life of
I did
of a former high school boyfriend, which is always a interesting thing to go to. Yours was even more interesting, so I'll let you set the stage for what you did.
So my very first real boyfriend.
Yeah, that's
real boyfriend.
That's a good way of putting it.
He passed away due to pancreatic cancer, and we had his celebration of life this weekend, and it was at the place that I got married. It was in the very room that I had my wedding reception in, which was kind of like, it's just weird how my life works, right?
Yes.
So it was there. They had a lot of, he had a lot. I know, right? This shit is handwritten just for me.
Yes.
So I walk into the room and I'm like, I got married in this room. I'm saying goodbye in this room. What the hell is up with this room? I don't want to be in it anymore, But I went in I got to talk to his parents and his sister, who I adore, and some girls that went to school with him that liked him back in the day when we were dating. And there was other girls that I guess they wanted to date him but didn't. I don't know. I was like his first major girlfriend, so I got asked like how many girls he had been with or how many girlfriends he had before he came out. I'm like, I don't know. I was the first one.
But you just said you popped the answer without actually saying why they asked you, because he was gay.
Yeah, he was gay.
Yes.
So he came out about 10 years after we dated. And it was funny because I didn't like the girl that he dated after me. I couldn't stand her. She just had a problem with me because I had been in his life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she couldn't be nice like the rest of them were. And so they're like, "Oh, did he turn gay after?" I said, "Oh no, I didn't do it. That ugly heifer he was with after me did." But because he was gay, he had some very, very open-minded, good-looking male friends that were also gay, and they adored him and they loved a good story. And I talked about how we used to compete with grades, and even down to the way that we wrote a word, like who could make it look the best. And, I told him that we would practice writing each other's names over and over and over again after we were sitting at the table because we didn't want to do the dishes. And that he wrote so pretty that when my brother saw my card that he gave me for my 17th birthday, my brother looked at it and goes, "Tuna? Tina, is this your card, Tuna?" And to this day, he either calls me Tuna or Tune.
Mm-hmm.
He's always done that. So I kind of made everybody laugh, and I wanted to keep it upbeat because if you knew this guy, he was always upbeat. He was always on. He was always happy. We got to the point where we'd look at each other and we'd make a look, and then we'd both just break out dancing, like doing stupid moves, like we were in an Austin Powers movie or whatever, just to entertain each other. We had a really good relationship. So I went to this celebration of life, and I had to get up and like talk because I had so many great stories. I'm like, not everybody knows this guy like I know him. From the time that we were together in school, it was like a really cool time, like our first, like getting our license and our first cars and first dances at school and all the things that we did that were something that we hadn't done before. And just like the good times, I really enjoyed it. So I went there, saw people that I didn't really care for, and I was still gracious and I still was nice to them. And, we still had a good time. And I danced in the middle of the room that I got married in with one of his friends that was a school teacher. And she and I were just like busting out. She was having a great time. And then other people came and got on the dance floor with us. And I, so I met all these people that I didn't know, but then they were calling me Tuna or Tune or, Tina. And they're like, "Oh, thank you for saying what you did. We didn't know him then." And I don't know. It was such a sad day because I can't imagine this earth not having him on it, because he was such a positive person and such a likable guy. And he went out of his way to help people and to make them feel seen. He was just good at that. So I feel like we lost like such a good soul that we should have had on this earth for a lot longer. And even though, we dated when I was like 16, 17 in that realm, 18, I don't know. I feel like hurt, like I miss him. But I did go up to his partner at the end of it, and he said, "Thank you for sharing your stories there." He goes, "They were great, and they were true to him. So, thank you for that." And then I said, and thank you for loving him for the rest of his life. And it was just like a really cool moment, like the first person you date and the last person you're with having that sort of conversation. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. So I was grateful for having that.
You know,
It was a good day.
it's it's odd when you go back that far to any kind of service that you've known somebody for quite a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've known them a long time, but really kind of lost touch with them, because that
Mm-hmm.
happens, obviously, as we get older, we do things, we get married, we do all kinds of things. And it happened with the guy who was my tag team partner when I wrestled, and I've talked about it on here before, but we went to a get together at his house, and it's a tad eerie because he actually died there.
Mm.
But he died out in they had a converted garage. He died out there. But when you go to those type of things, all these feelings of reminiscing come back, of like,
Oh yeah.
and small things like, my friend was a jokester. He would call me in the middle of the night and and I mean middle of the night, like 3 o'clock in the morning, middle of the night, and be like, tell me a joke, and then hang up out of nowhere. And like,
Hmm.
he would hit me with punchlines that would, like, I would be belly laughing
Mhm.
and then have to try to go back to sleep. And then the next day
Mhm.
call him and go, dude, you can't do that shit no more.
Mhm.
And then I found out that I wasn't the only target. I guess he was just dialing everyone like back to back to back to back to back. Like he was just
Wow.
dropping these jokes at 3 a.m. So we all
That's
had like,
cool.
yeah, and we all had these stories. But like, look, or wrestlers are rather large men. And when you get a bunch of large men in one room, it shrinks very quickly, but wrestling's like a fraternity almost. Like, it's the best way that I can put it. It's a fraternity of men that we all know the secret. It's kind of like magicians. We all know the secret. So we all have this little group of people that we hang with. But it was odd when you go to someone who died, and I've been to several wrestlers' funerals. It's like, it's the most celebration of everything, because you talk shit about the things that we used to do and how they were, and being in the car together and all these things. And to see a bunch of grown men with like welled up eyeballs talking about the past, celebrations of life are so important,
Mhm.
for a lot of things. Closure, it's a good way to let go and say goodbye to someone who is important to you.
There's there's something good about having a little a way to put things, to talk about things, to put them to rest and to be able to move on. Not that you won't think of this person, not that you don't want to be with them or again, not that you won't go through everything that you do go through, but to be able to just have a bump at the end of the song. You know what I mean? It's like, it's important to have that. And not everybody does that these days. It's kind of weird that they don't, but I was so grateful that I got to be there yesterday. And yet it ripped my heart out. Like it really, we hadn't dated in 100 years,
Right.
but still that connection, that moment. Because I remember going to our 10-year class reunion, and I brought a date and everything, and I show up there, and he comes and plops his ass down in the chair next to me, and
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Oh, I'm so glad that you're I'm so glad that you're here, and that I get to see you." And he goes, I go, are you with anybody? Are you going to sit here with us? And he goes, Tina, you were my college experience. And I'm like, not college, my high school experience.
Even
Sorry.
so, it's
And,
funny.
and I was like, you know what? He's right. Like we did things together every day. We were together, like, just like the rest of us were,
Mhm.
he was no different. Um, yeah. So it was kind of fun. It was great to see that he had he had a wonderful life without me, after me,
Sure.
that he had wonderful people in his life. Like, that made me happy, because I do believe that if you love somebody and you're not with them, you should want them to be with somebody that really makes them happy and loves them and nurtures their soul. And I believe that he had that. And I don't know, I just it was a weird situation for me, but it was a great situation. It was, I don't know, I had emotions that I can't quite explain. And I don't know that I've ever been like for a loss of words, but it makes sense that he would be the reason that I do. Um, it was an interesting day.
Yeah, and I think that things, look, we're at an age now where unfortunately we're going to be going to a lot more of these things.
I hope not.
It's inevitable.
I know, but I don't want to.
I don't either. Look, I've been to ones of young men. I had a friend die of a heart attack, 40 years old. Matter of fact, he had the first one at a funeral and then died in the hospital. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. And then me and him, years before that, went to another guy's funeral. And this one almost, look, I don't like funerals anyway. And I really don't like open caskets. I'm not a fan. Just because you never, look, the best morticians in the world, you rarely look like you. Right. He was a large wrestler, big. He was a big dude. And it looked like someone stuck him on top of the casket and then jumped on him to get him inside. And here's the crazy part. When you walked into the church, he was in the hallway right there in the front.
What?
Like on display. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, whoa, like I wasn't ready for it. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan, but that being said, all of them that I've gone to, and now I'm talking to all of them. My uncle, when he passed away, he died really young. He had liver problem. Like all these things I've went to, after the service and you walk outside and talk to everyone, that's the part, that is the healing part and the part that gets you through the day and gets
that
you
was
past
the
it.
best part,
Yeah.
because after it was over and after we were all able to roam around again and they turned up the music, because he was definitely somebody that liked to dance. So they made sure that they had music on and they wanted everybody to get out on the dance floor one last time and just have a dance for him. And I was everywhere I was at, somebody came up to me and said, Tina, thanks for doing that. Like his cousin said, I didn't know him that way. I grew up on the East Coast. He was on the West Coast. And you gave me a really good look at what he was like when he was in high school. Or I'm so-and-so. I'm his cousin. And I heard about you, like his whole life. He's talked about you and how much fun you were and how good of a best friend you were and how he, he still kept you in his heart. He still thought about you and stuff.
Right.
Or like his sister, who was just like, you still laugh the same and you still act the same. And oh my God, you take me back to that time. And I'm like, those were really good times. They really were. We were fortunate. We had a good high school experience for the most part. We went through experiences and did stupid shit and had fun. And I did that with him. Like he was my person in high school that I did that with. And his little sister was in on it too. And so was my little brother. And so was our other friends. Like we always had people around us. So, it just felt really like to put an end to it all and to know how he felt about me and my dad and my mom and my brother, and how he when he was really sick and he would stay up all night and just talk to his sister because he couldn't sleep, he was having problems sleep or whatever. The things that the people that he talked about were us. Like she said, he had so many stories about, I wonder if Tina would have liked this dance club and gone with us. I wonder if Tina would have been here if I had asked her to, or I wonder if I got a hold of Tina, would she want to see me? And the answer to all of that, and I know he knows, was always going to be yes. Like if he called and said, you want to go to a club? Who doesn't know I would do that?
Right.
Like, come on, I don't know. It was really heartfelt yesterday, but I also realized like I lost one of my people. Like this was somebody that knew me in a way that not a lot of people got to, and to have to say goodbye to him and those memories, it was hard. It was a hard day. I mean, I'm so grateful and I'm talking about it and I'm happy about it, but it was really hard to say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
It really was.
Right.
So I'm glad that we were all together. I'm glad that everybody was loving. I'm glad I was accepted by his friends, and people just came up and hugged me for no reason. I didn't even know who they were. And then they'd introduce themselves, and all because I just stood up there and told him what a great guy he was. So.
Right. Well, I mean, it's nice that you had that chance.
For sure.
Because I mean, a lot of people, never got to say goodbye to.
Well, it also boils down to what type of relationship you keep. Like, it reminds me of today. Like I went over to my old house, my ex's house, my ex-husband's house, because he asked me he wanted to know how to make chili beans. And so I went over there and told him what to do to prep the beans. And then I went over there and we threw the rest of the stuff in it and they came out really good. And we both put our input in I'm thinking to myself, okay, I said goodbye to my first real boyfriend yesterday. And today I'm teaching my ex how to make chili beans. Like,
which I find very confusing that he didn't know how to make chili.
Oh, that's because I cooked everything for him for 100 years. Like I did.
You told me that. And I was like, he what?
He did not know how to make them.
Yeah.
And it made me, it made me feel good that he liked my chili beans. So I was like, of course I'll teach you how to make them. And we had a plan for a couple weeks that it was going to be today. Cause on the weekends I've been writing, so I didn't have time to do it then, but he's retired. He could do it during the week. I went over there with my cousin and my brother showed up to eat. And it was just like nothing's ever changed other than now I leave the house and I go home, but the chili beans were good. And I was grateful that because like towards the end of our relationship, we couldn't work together very well at all. It just leave me alone. Like,
well,
we were
yeah, I mean, that's
not in a good place.
That's because everything wasn't good.
Right. And now, like, I feel like I like him again. He's my friend. I don't have any desire to get back together with him. I think we burned that bridge.
Mm-hmm.
But to still have my friend, somebody that I go over there and talk shit with him and hang out. And I walk in. I told him, I said, I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry that I walk in and I take over your kitchen like I own it. And he's like, it's okay. Just this used to be your kitchen. You're cooking with me. So I don't know. My life is just so weird. I think about it like, who does this? But I have to say that I'm so grateful that I do what I do and that I do have the relationships that I've had, and that, that people are, when I say to somebody that they're special, they are special. And if they don't fuck me over, they could stay in my life forever because I'll make room.
Right.
And I think that that's okay, because it doesn't stop me from having a different, like if I was to meet somebody right now, that would be my ultimate relationship. That would be the one that the cup I filled. That would be the one that I'd want to be with and everything. But that's separate from any bit of my life that I've already had, or people in it, friends in it, family in it. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that I want to go back to anything just because these people are in my life. They're just in my life.
Yeah. Look, we can say that things are good without revisiting them. You know what I mean? Like,
right, for sure.
I think that's a misconception too, is like, not everything has to be revisited. You know, it is
not
nice.
Everything has to be like destroyed either, you know?
Right. No, I agree. I think that, look, there's a lot to everything. Like, I think that you have to be able to decipher between what is good for everyone and what is not. But you know, look, it's at the end of the day, you know, these people that we're talking about that are in our lives for whatever, you know, they're going to be gone.
Yeah.
Or we're going to be gone first. One of the two. Like, there's, you know, it's one or the other. Like, so I think that, like, there's nothing wrong with keeping people in your life on either a very long leash or a very short leash. Like, it's okay. It's difficult. Like, when we're talking about, because look, you go to this service and you meet his mate that you didn't know.
You
know, and to think that you've been talked about in his life, which is,
I know, that's
cool.
Crazy too.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's an odd thing. Like, I've had the same thing happen to me where, like, I found out, like, oh, this person, like, I talked to my husband about you. And I was like, whoa, like, it's odd to me. Cause I really, when I was married, I didn't talk about ex-girlfriends, with the exception of one. And that's just because she lived with me. And then we ended up living in the same, me and my wife lived in the same, you know, condo. So, like, yes, there was things said, but I never got into detail about anyone, because I just think that it's just odd. Like, because there's always someone thinking about something, and you got to be careful about that.
True.
But look, I think, how can I say this and be nice? If you're gay and you have a gay partner, talking about a girlfriend from 30 years ago is probably pretty tame. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, we were kids.
That's
too.
what I mean.
That's another
like,
part of it, you know. So
it's not like he you know, dated a woman 2 years before that.
no.
So, and again, yes, you were 17 years old, 16 years old.
Right.
It's a different thing where, you know, I dated this girl in my 20s. We lived in the same place, and we ended up living there for many, many moons after that. But I do my best not to talk about exes to people, because of things like that. I'd rather let them all talk about me at the service when I'm long dead.
Well, and they will, because if it's anything like the one I was at yesterday, everything got talked about. I mean, people were coming up to me asking me questions, and I was like, I feel like that's a little inappropriate.
Right?
But is it? Because and I was like, there were some things I didn't want to say, and I didn't, because those were my memories. Those were my special moments that I had with my best friend at the time. And, you know, I don't know. It was so, like, unreal to be in that situation yesterday. And yet there was nowhere I wanted to be besides there. You know, it was just emotions on override. And not because, and it wasn't because I was like, oh my God, I wasn't like that. It was like, my friend is gone and he's not here. And I don't want that to be the case. I want him on earth where I could run into him at the store, or I could call him up and say, "Hey, do you remember when we did this?" Or not that I did, but to have that option to know he was just right down the street.
Correct. It's nice to know that they're there.
Yeah.
Even though you might never talk to them again. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where like it's a in case of emergency break glass. Like
Well,
I'm
you know what?
sure if you were desperate and needed to talk to him, you could have.
I don't even think it need desperate doesn't
No,
even
but you know
come
what
to
I
mind.
mean.
If I thought about him and I said I'm going to call him tomorrow, I could have found out where he was so easily and said, "Hey, I want to see you." And you know what? I didn't fuck things up so bad that I couldn't do that. And I'm so, man, am I grateful. I know I say that a lot, but in my life, I really learned to not burn down the bridge or not make it to where I couldn't pick up the phone or not, you know, not to be who I've always been with people. I'm grateful that I kept things open, and that I'm able to still, like, I partied with his partner and his
Right.
mom and his dad and his sister. Like, who gets to say that? Like,
Right.
most people blow their relationships to shit, and they can't even like have a real conversation. I didn't have to go through that.
But you guys stayed friends after you broke up, no?
No, I didn't like the girlfriend that he was with after me. And not because of being jealous, because at the time it was over,
Mm-hmm.
but she was just a bitch and very masculine in her approach. Like, she was very, I don't know, I just didn't like her. I don't need to talk any more shit than
Right,
that.
right.
But I couldn't. I said, you need to move on, and it's okay. And it was okay. I started dating a guy, like, we broke up like on a Monday or Tuesday, and I went out with this guy on Friday.
Right.
And then broke up with him a couple weeks later, and then the very next week I was with somebody else. Like, that's how high school went.
Yes, exactly.
But it wasn't like I wasn't hurting anybody. It was a mutual breakup. So I don't know.
I tried to stay friends with exes, or I had tried.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think that, like, it's a nice thing to do. We'll see if it's nothing. I mean, trust me, there's girls I don't talk to at all anymore or whatever.
Right.
But all in all, like, you know, it's for the best. I just think these days, because look, we don't have a lot of time left. Now, do I need to talk to them every day? No.
No.
But it is nice to know that, like, if you needed someone, or if they needed you, like, the people that are out there that I don't talk to, they know they could call me tomorrow, and I would be like,
I don't feel like I'm like that, but they call me anyway.
yeah, they don't call me, but I mean, but I think they know they could.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the people who know they could. Um, I'm just doing my best these days to just not alienate people, because I don't want to be the person who's like, oh, they died and I was, didn't talk to them. Because, that
Right.
my friend from New York, who was my ex-girlfriend in like 10th grade, we talked for many years. And not that it was strained, it was just odd, because like she was still like goo goo over me and hadn't seen me in a long time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but we talked and, often, and she would call me out of nowhere and I would just, we'd talk. But it was definitely a weird, strained relationship. And then she passed away. And then I felt kind of shitty because I was like,
Yeah, because you can't pick up the phone and call
well,
them.
because I think I should have talked to her more. You know what I mean? Like, even though sometimes she would say things and they would just make my eyes roll, or just because like she still thought I was the same person that I was 30 years before. And I'm like, I'm not that person anymore. Like,
Right.
I'm just not. And I think that that's with everybody. Like, even 10 years ago, I'm not the same person. We're constantly changing. Um,
Thank God.
yeah. And I think that that's why we should continue to try to have, even if they're just subtle relationships. Like my friend in North Carolina, we don't really talk much, but I still text her on her birthday and on Christmas. And if there's something going on the East Coast, like a hurricane, I'll text her just to make sure she's okay. Because I give a shit. Like, she was probably one of my best friends.
Yeah.
So, so for me, it's, do it while they're here, because you don't get another shot after that.
That's exactly what I feel like. And you know what really bothers me is he didn't know if he was going to go to heaven or hell because of being gay. Like, I guess from what I hear, that was a real, like, nervous situation for him. Like, was God going to accept him? Was he going to purgatory? Like, where the hell was he going? He struggled with that because of being gay.
Mhm.
And I wish that I had known. I wish that I could have talked to him, because I believe that in such a way that I know I could have talked to him and said, no, that's not how things work. Like, if you're a good person, you're a good person, you're a good person. It's just the way it is. And I understand that he really struggled with his lifestyle choices.
Sure.
And God, I wish I would have talked to him, because I think I could have helped him not be so worried.
Right.
And how sad that he was that worried. I don't know. It was a really interesting situation, and all the love that was in that room was awesome. And I don't know. I can't say enough. I'm also like really trying to process everything that I'm going through, because for a long time when I was younger, I felt like I was the bad one, always the one that was unlovable, or that people always seem to have problems with me. And I look at my life now and I was like, well, people could really have had problems with me, but it doesn't mean that I wasn't a good person, because look at, I'm going to my very first boyfriend's celebration of life. And you know what? I owned it there. Like, I was on that dance floor. I said goodbye to him. I told them stories. And then the very next day I go over to my ex's house and I help him make chili beans. And is it because I'm still in love with him? No, I'm not in love with him. I have love for him.
Mhm.
I shared a lifetime with him. How could I not? You can't turn off and on your emotions, or at least I can't, not that way.
Right.
But like, I don't know, life hasn't been that bad. And I've managed to keep people in my life that were important, and the rest of them, whatever. But
Yeah. And that's all you can do. You can only, you can only do so much, convince people so much, whatever it is that the world brings you. You can tell them how you feel, and then they have to do the rest.
yeah,
So like, that's why I'm okay with a lot of things too. Like if I tell you how I feel and then I walk away, then I'm probably okay because
Right.
I've already I've come to peace with how I feel. So, you know, at the end of the day, sometimes that's all you got to do. And if you can do that, it's great. Um, and as long as the people know how you feel, I think it makes it better for when they
That
do
makes it
pass,
so much better.
because, a friend of mine from work that I worked with in Camarillo, when he passed away, like before he got really sick, I went out and, I was at the hospital talking to him, and like, I made sure he knew, like, this is how I feel. Like, you're the best and blah, blah, blah. I wanted him to know. And and that he made he changed the way I looked at life with a lot of things. And,
Right.
that's, he was the one who kind of, he told me something that's like huge to me to this day. He said, learn so much that they can't fire you.
Yeah.
And
That's actually a really good piece of
it
advice.
was like the greatest. So at the end of the day, I was like, yeah, and he also, unfortunately in death, also told me that you only live once, and you need to do the crazy shit sometimes, because
Yeah,
you can't take shit with you, and you can't, you only get certain chances. So take them.
that's true.
So look, I mean, I'm glad you got to go, and I think it's important that you got to say goodbye in your own way. Um and truly that you got to meet the other people in his life that you didn't know about.
Yep, I did. I did. And man, he had some good people in his life. I'm so grateful that he did, because he was worth it. He was a good guy. And again, like all I have is the fondest of memories. I'm glad it was him. Like he treated me he treated me like a person should. And then there was other times where he was also just my sparring partner too. I think about that. Like we used to argue like crazy.
Right.
But then, his partner said the same thing. They used to have some big fights. And I think it was because we both had big personalities,
Mm-hmm.
and we both like had something to say. We weren't gonna back down to it. And that was a blessing too. I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to spar with somebody on that level, and that we were able to discuss and debate and like grow our personalities. We really did. We grew our personalities with each other. And it's funny, the older I get, the more I see things from like different sides of the coin, like by far. Like I see things so differently than I ever did. And it's it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that I'm seeing the way things are turning out, and um the way that life is and should be, and how people stay in my life. And I don't know. I'm really having kind of this moment of gratitude and peace with being who I am, and who I am to people. And I'm digging it. I'm digging it. And I liked the idea of dancing at the end of it, because we used to, God, we danced so much.
Right.
Like all the damn time. And like all the memories and stuff that I had, because I sat down and thought about him. You don't normally think about your exes either, but I had time, because I knew probably a month in advance that they were going to have this celebration. So I had time to sit with with the memories and things that we did and how we said things and the fights that we had and the life that we had with each other. And it was like, I was so lucky. So lucky.
Yeah,
So it was,
it's a nice thing to get some the word I'm looking um when you finally get to see the bigger picture. You know
mhm.
what I mean? There's you you don't really see it until there's a lot of other things in front of you and you kind of go, "Oh yeah, and this and oh yeah, that." And it's you start seeing the world differently when people pass away
Yeah.
because now you start going, maybe I should get this shit in gear and I should do this or I should do that. And I've kind of I saw a guy today. I was watching something before I went to work, and it was basically a guy saying, you know, he started photography in his 50s. Um, Scottish guy, um, and he has like a series on like starting this in your 50s, and he went over these things and he's like, look, he goes, do it now because you can. He goes, yeah, your knees are bad, yeah, this is bad, yeah, but he goes, you only got one shot, enjoy it. And he goes, don't let
Mhm.
anybody tell you you can't. And I kind of agree with that. Like, don't tell you someone like I decided I went and shot pictures for the first time in a long time. And kind of got the bug again. And now I'm starting to think, yeah, like I'm really gonna like throw this into high gear and see if I can't even if I, you know, don't make a ton of money, like start doing pictures for people because I know I'm good. So um yeah, it's you only live once. You start living because
That is so true.
it sucky.
I'm still concerned that my mom and her two brothers they had the same mom and dad out of the 13. They all died before they were 60. And turning 55, I'm looking at that like they were all 59.
Yeah,
I got 4 more years and it could be me. And everybody goes, yeah, but you didn't have the life they'd had. You didn't do the things that they
sure.
did to contribute to their drama. But ultimately, that there's no guarantee that it's not me either. That
Correct.
so I really am looking at like I don't know. I always felt like I was put on this earth to kind of help give the souls that I'm close to one last little push and then say goodbye, and that was going to be the end of it. Like I'm on my last life here on earth, and I've always thought that. And I really try, not that I'm completely successful, but I really try to let people that I love know that I love them, and just let go, like just let things go. And I'm so grateful that I've had the opportunity to do it, but it's also broken my heart.
Yeah, and it's going to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing that I've kind of come to terms with. Um, like your heart is going to be broken. It
Yeah.
just is. That's just that's the way we are set up as human beings, unfortunately, and it's sucky because nobody wants that to happen, but it happens. And I think that if you're, you know, honest with yourself and kind of see the world for what it is, you know, live, uh, have the experiences. I'd rather now have the experiences and get my heart broke than not have the experiences at all. Because it's
I'm yeah, I'm all about having the
yeah,
experiences.
because
I'll worry about
you're
my
supposed to.
heart later.
Yeah, because you're supposed to. I like if I didn't meet people and have friendships or relationships or certain things with them, I I wouldn't be able to take parts of them to make me who I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've changed me, all of them. It's kind of,
Absolutely. And that's supposed to be that way. Their influence is supposed to change you.
Correct.
It's supposed to make you a new person and make you think in ways that you didn't previous. Yep. Absolutely.
It's supposed to make us gain certain things. Whatever that is. Yep. And like I said, you're going to get your heart broke. It's sucky. but
right. But and you want to, because you can't get over somebody if you don't go through that.
Yeah.
You can't figure out what you need to fix if you don't go through some of the hurt. Like, you just have to.
Correct. 100%. 100%.
But at the same time, man, I've gone through some shit. I'm so grateful. I won't make that mistake again. I won't do it again.
Correct.
I won't.
That's the point. Don't do it again. At least that's what I'm doing my best to do. I'm doing my best to just not do that same thing again. So.
Well, and that's the whole point of, being who you are. I mean, we're not put on this earth to be perfect. And if you think that you're supposed to be perfect, or your parents or your friends or your husband or any of your loved ones are supposed to be perfect, you're wrong.
Yeah, good luck with that.
We're not put here to be perfect.
Yeah.
We're put here to make mistakes, to get messy, to try to understand what it is that we need to understand and to live.
Mm-hmm.
Not be perfect, not do things like 100%, but to live, because that's the only thing that's our purpose here.
Yeah. Agree.
So, I don't know.
Any last words on the show this week?
I'm just realizing that once I love somebody, I'm going to love them forever. And I'm okay with that. And I'm grateful that I told him. I'm grateful that he knows. I'm grateful that I don't have any hard feelings holding me back with him or even my ex-husband. Like, I did all right.
Yeah.
And if you just put down your ego, you could do it too.
Right. Yeah.
It's that easy.
I just think that, live. It's so important right now. And no matter what age you are, you got to live. Live. Because
absolutely,
you only get one shot here. Make it count.
Yep.
Alrighty. With that being said, keep checking us out on the social medias. I'm trying to post more. And I'm back here every week. We've been knocking it out. We had another killer month last month. Thank you for everybody who's listening.
Yes, thank you. That's great.
It's super awesome. And look, it's an opinion show. Don't get it twisted. Keep coming back every Wednesday. That's Tina. I'm Rob. We'll see you in a week. Bye.
See ya.